You may be asking, what happened to your camera quality? Why is it so bad? And the unfortunate news is that I accidentally broke my camera, which still devastates me. I'm still trying to ignore the fact that it happened, and I'm still kind of in denial. But yeah, I broke my camera, and because of that, unfortunately, we're going to be having this camera quality for a while until I can afford to buy a new one, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. But we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in April. Last month in March, I kind of had a reading slump, which was really horrible, but I got out of that pretty quickly. I did a whole video trying to get out of the reading slump, and honestly, it worked. So this month, I felt like I had a really good reading month. I had the, I guess, desire and excitement to actually pick up a book, which I'm really, really happy about. And I don't know why, April just felt so long to me. It felt so short but also so long, which is crazy because it feels like I've read this book ages ago when it's really been a month. So let's talk about the books that I've read. The first book is Ruined, which is the final book in the Beautiful series, which makes me so happy because I finally finished reading this series after starting the first one ages ago. Unfortunately, this one wasn't my favorite. I think honestly, the series kind of went downhill and it was pretty disappointing because the whole premise of the world was amazing. It's basically a vampire werewolf fae kind of situation where we have this forbidden love going on and this kind of found family, and the writing is so beautiful. I loved the world building, but honestly, the last book kind of destroyed everything because it was so bad. The miscommunication between the characters was so frustrating in terms of the romance. Everything that could possibly go wrong just went wrong. And Celine, who is our main character, was just so frustrating to read. It was so annoying to be in her point of view because there was so many things that could be fixed, yet because they didn't communicate well, everything just got destroyed. The ending was like, what was the point of this book if it was going to end this way? And then there was this whole other scene that honestly, thinking about it makes me really annoyed. The plot was just all over the place. It was there, but also not there. And I think overall, the last book really just ruined the characters and their relationship with each other. And it just wasn't a good conclusion to the series. So I liked the previous books in the series, but unfortunately, this one just didn't hit the mark, and it makes me very, very angry. The next book is The Bone Witch, which is actually a reread for me, and I've been wanting to reread this for a very long time. And it's about this girl named T, and in this world there are a bunch of, I guess, like witches, or they have special powers, and they have this particular special power, and they also have this thing called heart glasses which kind of change colors, and it's a really cool idea. But our main character T has a brother named Fox, and one day he comes back dead, and she suddenly has the power to raise him from the dead. So she's basically a bone witch, which is someone who can like raise the dead. But there's also this thing where there are monsters that appear in villages, and her job is to rise these monsters and kill them. And honestly, I was afraid that while rereading this, I wasn't gonna like it as much as I did the first time, because you know that can happen. Your reading taste may change, but I'm glad to say that I liked it as much as I liked it the first time while reading it. It's interesting because I would say it's very descriptive, and we kind of get the present and past. So we basically get chapters of this bard who is talking to her and wanting to tell her story, and then we get her actually telling her story. And there are many scenes that is just like her learning about this world. It feels very descriptive, but at the same time very interesting. Like I was so enthralled, I guess, by the world, and I just wanted to read it. So I'm really excited to go through the second two books. There's also romance, which I remember the romance. Okay, so in the first book I was expecting it, but I didn't realize in the first book there was barely any romance, and that is so good. Okay, I'm so happy about that because in the end it's kind of revealed who, I guess, the person is that she ends up falling in love with. But oh, the way that it was done was just so good because it wasn't the most important part of the book. Obviously, it's about T learning how to control her powers and being involved in this new world that she was never a part of. I'm so glad that it was written that way. And then the next two books gets a lot more political, and then obviously there's romance, but honestly, not the most important part. I just do really like the way that the romance was written. But honestly, I love tea. I love the world building, just like how interesting the world is, and I love the different chapters of how it's from, I guess, the present timeline of her telling her story and then the past timeline, because it makes you really interested to see how that kind of ends up in the present timeline. So I'm really excited to read the rest of this series. Hopefully I would pick it up soon because I've been wanting to read it, but then at the same time I'm like, oh my god, there's so many other books that I want to read. Then I read Thousand Autumns. So I read volume 1 to volume 5 this month, and I'm gonna have a whole reading vlog that is coming out soon. It's gonna be a spoilery reading vlog, so if you haven't read the book, unfortunately you can't watch the video unless you just want to watch it for, I don't know, fun. But I wanted to do a spoilery reading vlog just because I had a lot to say about the book, and there was just specific quotes and stuff that I wanted to talk about. This book is very interesting because, first of all, I haven't read a lot of Danmei like wuxia books. I've read a lot of, I would say, modern story kind of ish ones, and I'm trying to read a lot more. But I would say the books that I have read in the wuxia world is Meisha Tonshu's books and Chen Jinju, which I think that those books, it's very hard to compare, especially Motion Tonshu. I feel like her books are so popular for a reason. The way that it is written, the world building, the angst between like the characters and the romance, the angst of the background stories of the characters, literally Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation and Heaven's Official Blessing made me cry. It was painful, and I think Thousand Autumns, can you really compare other Dame books to Meisha Tonshu's books? I don't really know, but Thousand Autumns, when I read it, obviously I had high hopes. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I actually still really did enjoy it, but I think my main issue with it was that it was so repetitive. Literally all they did was fight. 𝐻𝐸𝐴, he like fought with everybody and he won every single fight, and I love 𝐻𝐸𝐴, but it just got kind of boring. There was also no plot. It was supposed to be political, but I swear there was no plot. Where were we even going? The book had its interesting parts, but also kind of not. To summarize what this book is about, for those who don't know, it's about this cultivator named 𝐻𝐸𝐴. He battles against this guy and he ends up falling off a cliff. So he wakes up blind, and over time he obviously has to recover. He's traveling the world, and this is why I'm saying he fights a bunch of people, yet he manages to win even though he's injured and he nearly died, and he's also blind. And then we have Yan Wushu, who is a male lead, and I do not like him. I don't understand the romance at all, how it developed. It's slow burn, but it's slow burn to the point where you're kind of like, I don't understand how this happened. It's not my favorite, unfortunately. I wanted more out of it. I just wanted I wanted less fighting scenes. I wanted less mentions of 𝐻𝐸𝐴 being so beautiful. And I also want to state that the men in this book are so icky. Like, all of them are literally so disgusting, besides like a couple of them. But I love 𝐻𝐸𝐴. Yan Wushu is just a little bit questionable. I don't know. I feel like I harbor a lot of feelings towards this book, and I don't know if they're good feelings or bad feelings, because I did really enjoy it. Like, I was so excited about reading it, and something about it still drew me in, and I wanted to finish it as fast as I possibly could. At the same time, my brain is like, no, I don't know. Then the last book that I read this month was The Dragon's Promise, which is the second book to Six Crimson Cranes. So I've been wanting to read this for a very long time as well, and to be honest, I didn't really remember what the first book was about. I did remember that it was about this girl and her brothers were cursed to turn into cranes, I think, like at a specific time. But after reading this book again, I did kind of remember what it was about. This book had a lot of negative reviews, which kind of made me very apprehensive to actually pick it up. But when starting it, I was like, you know what, it's not that bad. I'm enjoying it. I really like Takan. Was it his name? I'm kind of forgotten his name now, because he was such a gentle and patient guy. Literally our main character, I forgot what her name was. It's like Shiori. She was running everywhere and he was so patient and so nice. Literally a perfect match for her. So I did like it. I liked the writing, but I will admit that all her brothers literally had no individuality. They all sounded the same. And also we had this whole plot which I felt like wasn't written well, because we knew that plot was going to happen, yet the lead up to it was kind of anticlimactic, and then after that plot we had this whole different plot. It was kind of random. The plot came out of nowhere, but overall it ended well and I did enjoy it. I actually forgot, but I read another book which I finished I think 2 days ago. I forgot to write it down on my list, but that book is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Guide for Murderers, and I really enjoyed this book. It's the perfect mixture of mystery and like comedy. It was really heartwarming and funny to read. Basically what happens is that we have Vera Wong, who is this Chinese grandmother. She owns a tea shop, and one day she walks down and she finds a dead man in her tea shops. Obviously after that she calls the police, but she gets really annoyed because it feels like the police aren't doing anything to solve the mystery. So she herself wants to uncover the mystery and she plays detectives. So there are a bunch of people who are kind of suspects to the mystery, and we get to see how the relationship develops because of Vera, and it is really heartwarming to read because it's a bunch of people from different places and just like different lives and them coming together and creating this like family. And I loved reading it so much. It is also really funny because the guy that was killed, he gets dissed a lot in this book, and it was honestly so entertaining to read. I loved it so much. But I will say in terms of the mystery, it was really obvious who it was. I knew from the beginning. I knew who it was, but I will say the revelation of how it occurred was really surprising. But the mystery isn't like the biggest thing about it. It's just really the story and Vera as a character and her bringing all these individuals together because of her grandmotherly love. Next, I want to talk about the manhwas that I read because I read not as many as I usually read, but I only really write down the completed ones that I've read. Unfortunately, I've been reading ones that have been uncompleted, and now I kind of regret it because I started it and I'm like, oh my god, it's so good, but I cannot finish it because it's not completed. Anyways, the first one, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Smyrna and Capri. I cannot pronounce that for the life of me. I don't even know what I'm reading, but this one is a manhwa that I really enjoyed. The art is so beautiful, but also the relationship between the two characters. I then read This Is Just a Dream, right? And this one was also cute. It was really nice art as well, but I will say I'm slightly just sick of all the smart scenes. I kind of just hate that it's written so much in BL because it makes me very uncomfortable, and I'm kind of like, can you please stop? Like, it adds honestly nothing to the story and I just don't want it to be there, and I'm tired of it. And it's really hard as well because sometimes I just want to read like a really cute and fluffy book, but no, all of them have. Yeah. I also read Extra Hot Neighbor, which doesn't have smart, which is great. That one was also really cute because we followed two characters. It's also very like short and very fluffy. The art is also really beautiful, which I really love. And I've been reading some that have not been completed, as I mentioned before. I forgot what the title was. I think it's The Male Lead's Little Lion's Daughter, which I'm currently reading. I'm on chapter 86. It is so cute because we follow this orphan girl and she gets adopted by this duke because this duke suddenly decides that he wants to have a daughter, so he adopts her, and she's like the perfect like mirror of him. She's exactly like him, and their father and daughter relationship is so cute, so comforting to read, but it's not completed, and I just don't want to read like when she grows up and when their relationship changes because she grows up and then he's supposed to have a love interest and everything. So reading that's gonna make me feel a little bit sad. But yeah, that's something that I'm currently reading, and I think I've been reading other stuff, I just don't remember. Let's talk about the books that I DNF'd. So first one is Better Than Revenge, which this one I barely read any of it. The reason why I DNF'd it was because the writing was kind of cringy. I think I should really let go of YA books, like YA romance books. But basically in this book, the school that the main character goes to, they have this podcast thing where every single year maybe you kind of audition to be part of this podcast in the school, which first of all, I was just so confused with this whole idea. Are you telling me that like podcasts was something that was like really big in the school? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but okay. So first of all, that kind of caught me off guard and I couldn't take it seriously. But then reading the first couple of like chapters, just the way that it was written was just so cringy, and I felt like I couldn't make it through the book. So I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna put the book down, it is okay. And then I DNF'd Lady Smoke. I didn't really try to read this because it is the second book to a series that I was going to continue, but I also thought I don't really know if I want to continue on with the series because I don't even know if I'm gonna like it. I wrote a whole review for this first book on my Goodreads and that review wasn't positive, so I kind of knew getting into this that I might not like it, but I just went ahead and decided, you know what, I would just try to read it. And then in the end I ended up DNFing it. The reason why was because honestly half of me just didn't care, like I was not in the mood to read it. Half of it was also because of the writing and the character, because already I was getting really annoyed by her because she is a princess but she just felt so immature, but at the same time she had this, I guess, pressure to lead, and she got annoyed when someone else tried to like kind of take the lead. But at the same time I felt like she had no experience and she wasn't mature enough to kind of take the lead over her kingdom. Also, this whole plot is her having to travel to another kingdom, and then there's this whole selection thing where she has to find someone to get married to so that the two kingdom can kind of like form an alliance. And that already I was like, I'm done with that. Okay, I'm done with bachelor like things. I've already read the selection. I don't need to read another story. And yeah, overall I just wasn't in the mood because I think this month I've been reading a lot of fantasy, which I don't really mind, but sometimes you do need to take a break, which is why I try to read Better Than Revenge. But then after that I didn't feel like reading anything. With Thousand Autumns, I basically read 2 volumes, and then I was also reading The Dragon's Promise, and then I think after volume 3 I got mad after reading that, so I was gonna read other books, and then I just couldn't, so I just went back and finished reading Thousand Autumns. But yeah, that was my reading month overall. I think I had a pretty good reading month in terms of the fact that I read books that I really enjoyed. I was really excited to read and pick up a book, and overall I'm really happy I didn't DNF a lot of books, and I'm excited for this month, May, because I have a lot of books that I want to read, so I'm just desperately trying to make time to actually get through them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down below what is your favorite book that you've read this month, or in April I guess. Please like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye!